Friday, the 2nd of May 2025, slightly overcast, but a lovely morning here in rural Ireland. It's about 9 a.m. I don't particularly like getting into too much religion and all of that, but there's one thing bothering me, and that is the selection of a new pope. Now, I have long pointed out, and I'm a farmer with cows, and I'm going to do my work, so I can't be dressed up in my Sunday best suit and everything. Please understand that. I dress what's suitable for the occasion and what I'm doing. But anyway, I have long said the problem with organisations, that the real good people cannot get up. That's the way it is in the Garda Síochána and the way it is in many organisations. They don't select the most brightest and best. And there are in the Catholic Church in Ireland, which is one of the few places I know of, a good few very, very, very pious priests who follow the word of Christ big time. And they naturally come out and they condemn abortion. And I have the problem with abortion. I was one of the first to spot it, that with abortion, the baby can't be baptized. Now, someone said to me earlier on that a civilian cannot baptize a person. You certainly can in the Catholic faith. If you come upon a person or a baby that's dying, you can baptize in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. And all you have to do is have any liquid at all, a little bit of water. And if all went all, a drop of tea or coffee left in the bottom of a glass will do. It just requires some little bit of water, preferably. Doesn't have to be holy water. That is the rule of the Catholic Church. I can't speak for others. Now, anyway, I digress a bit and I make that point. But anyway, I don't want to mention individual priests or that, but the modern woke stuff is being rallied against. In other words, the left are holding on. We had the elections in England yesterday, and Reform UK are doing reasonably well. They're not cleaning out, but they did reasonably well and got a new MP elected, a great lady there, elected, Sarah. And so there is a movement back to the old, good, solid, traditional values. And I'm an Irish Roman Catholic, and not a very good one, may I say. And definitely, if there's such a thing as a sinner, here is 100, well, 99.9%. All I try to do is a few good things, and I have helped people out in ways, nice little quiet ways in my own way. Might get me a brownie pint with St. Peter. Anyway, I don't know, whatever you believe is up to yourself, but here is the thing. There could be among the cardinals who are in the running for the new pope, someone who did get up there some or other, who came from a particular background that got him to be a priest and on to be a bishop and a cardinal. There could be. That's what we're taught anyway. The Pope is infallible, he cannot err. I don't know about that, but it's only when he teaches on faith and morals, of course. But there could be someone there. And now the conclave has to select, a Pope. And if it goes with the woke agenda, the climate change agenda, it will do untold damage. St. Malachy, he was the bishop only about 14 miles from here, predicted very, very serious warnings about the last pope and when the last pope will be. But be that as it may, there is no reason why we can't have a return to some of the good popes we had, like John Paul. There's no reason. Now, we had some dour Catholic bishops and archbishops in Ireland in our time, and but we had some reasonably good ones too. We had John Charles McQuaid. He was an archbishop, and he was totally anti anything only the church. He believed the church should rule Ireland, and the people recoiled against that. And out of that, then they got loads of recruits. And then after the 1932 Eucharistic Congress, they had that many priests they didn't know what to do with them. And they used to filter them based on the mental illness background in the family. And many Irish families felt it was great to have a priest in the family. It proved there was no mental illness. But that's gone now. And with the sex abuse, very few young people or young men or women are joining the church to do abuse. If they have a severe weakness for children, God help us, it's terrible, touch wood here, they won't join because they won't get away with it. Now, one of the problems with Ratzinger, that Pope Ratzinger that had to retire, was he didn't have the bottle to tackle the abuse. So what a priest would say to him is, I have sinned, I repent, please leave me alone, don't tell the police. And the Pope and the bishops were put in this position. But at this stage, it has to be understood by all priests that if any member of the clergy find out that he's been abusing kids, they must report to the proper authority. That's the correct way. Now, in England, if you report to the proper authority, at the moment there's a two-tier system. If you're a Christian English person, you're put through the ringer, and if you're a Muslim immigrant or not, you are let go. It's turned a blind eye. So there's a two-tier system in Britain where child abuse is tolerated. Now, that's that. Now, I remember a cousin of mine who's a lady that was very, very religious. And she told me, she says, Val, you'll see in my lifetime the conversion of England. Now, I'm no big deal in this. This is not a big thing of mine. Don't get it wrong. I never ever considered being a clergyman in all my time. Never. I was too wild for that. But she's still alive, though maybe with not full mental capability. She's old. And I read the other day, to my amazement, that 20% of all Catholic priests in England are former Anglicans. Moreover, there is evidence in the United States of them turning to Catholicism. And there's a big resurgence of Catholicism in the town of Bismarck in Montana. So, anyway, that's not for me to say, but I will say this. I don't want to see the destruction of the Roman Catholic Church that I grew up with. It had its faults. They were great educators. It had its faults, and there aren't that many flocking to be nuns and priests and all that, but we do need a few, and we need to support them. And the Pope that's selected, he can be black, white, or anything else. And sometimes people think I'm making fun of black people when I say the wokes always select a person that's black. The ideal would be black from there up, white from the knees down, and brown in the middle, or yellow in the middle. That'd be the ideal thing, this rainbow situation. But I certainly have no problem with any nationality, any skin colour being a pope. That's a fact, because I have cattle, and I have black ones, and I have white ones, and I have every colour. I have every colour except green. And I don't think any the worst of any of them. I mind them all and make sure they're healthy. Now, the same with this. I think there is one African cardinal in the running. I won't say who it should be, but anyway, it's not a problem with me who they are. But what is a problem is they must be of slightly conservative opinion. They must be slightly conservative opinion. No more of this climate nonsense. Leave that to somebody else. There's enough push on that. Climate justice. It can't be defined. And the BRICS situation is that they're trying to get away from us altogether because we're domineering them. We won't let African farmers sell their cocoa and their coffee manufactured into the EU. So it's very important that we don't have a pope elected who comes out the next day and says, oh, climate change. That's a false god. And if he does that, he is not the pope. He is not a follower of Christ. He is the Antichrist, and we'll watch for him. And if he comes out with this stuff, then we know that the prophecy of Malachi will have come true. We have an impostor as the Pope. Just when we don't need it, when we need that like a hole in the head, we need consistent, something similar to John Paul thinking. It's not to say maybe I was a bit hard on Francis, but he was a bit weak on that. Let the left wing look after the left. This whole woke stuff is nothing more than an effort to destroy the Christian West in order to replace it with the Muslims. The Muslims, some of them are all right, but in the end of the day, the Quran says we must be converted. And it's a very violent religion that say we're dogs or kafirs if we don't convert. And they're sitting back and they can watch and they get away with breaking the law, as I said earlier, and we don't. And so our votes are doing the work of the extreme Muslims for them. And in this, there is a need among the people for certainty and for a return to proper religious practice. I heard that at Easter Saturday or Easter Sunday, that Westminster Chapel, now that's I think different, and I'm not too sure, it's a Catholic chapel in London, that there was people praying away down the street. Not a funny one, not strange. I'm not saying too much about it, but I want to finish on 11 minutes. We all have to say a wee prayer for the wisdom of this conclave, and that when the white smoke goes up, we have a follower of Christ, not the follower of Satan or Antichrist or anything else. Not the follower of Satan or anything else. No more woke baloney. If the men want to box the women, then let there be a separate category and let those who participate volunteer for it. And no more mutilation of young girls and the severing of their breasts. That should be outlawed as a grave sin. No more indoctrination of young boys at 8 years of age to have their gender changed and questioning their sexuality. Homosexual men and women survived through all of the time of the church. Maybe it was a bit too harsh. We've dealt with that in the referenda. But there it ends. The proper interpretation of the Catholic Christian message is that there was a holy family, and it's central to it is the family. And central to Irish life here is the family. There's hardly a nicer sight than to go into the shopping centre and see a woman opening the back of the car and carefully taking out her 2 children, maybe a boy of 7 and a girl of 4, and making sure all is safe and getting them across and in and doing the wee bit of shopping. That's really what it is. That's the family I grew up in. That shouldn't alienate other people. But we got to get a grip on this situation. And if this Pope is wrong, then I will say so. I will judge him when he comes along. And if he's the right one, with the help of God he will be, then we will celebrate him being appointed. Please do not judge him on the colour of his skin. Do not do that. Judge him on the depth of his heart. And he'll not hide evil. If he's evil, he'll not hide it. It can't be hidden. And if he's for good, we'll be cheering. Good luck. Thou art Peter. You know the rest. Bye.